Hello and welcome to Passionpreneur Superstar Show. As you know, the format of the show is we bring you some of the brilliant, amazing people who have become passionpreneurs and who build their business on passion. And today, we are going to look into the life of one of that amazing person who was born in a humble family. Father was doing odd jobs in factories and mills. He grew up in a Gujarati family, being very conservative, trying to save money here and there. He struggled at the beginning to even speak in English, to getting a decent job, to hopping from different jobs. He went from there to building a great career and then finally quitting his job. And today, he is one of the leading growthpreneur mentor and who's helping people to find their career guidance, helping them to find their path where they can go following their passion and purpose and build something substantial. This man has an amazing story of not just from rags to riches, not only just becoming successful, but also the story of struggle. How he struggled, what did he do, what it takes. In this episode, we are going to go deep into knowing more about him, what it takes to become really successful. So stay tuned for next 40 to 45 minutes as we go deep dive into his life. But before I bring it on, let me play a sizzling reel to give him a welcome and bring him on. All right, let's bring him on by this reel. Are you ready? Welcome, Mr. Raakesh Rana. Rakesh, welcome to Passionpreneurs.
You very much for calling me on this amazing interview that you are doing for the people who are going and driving their passion in the life.
Wonderful to have you, Rakesh. And you are one of those very few students who has been very consistent, very persistent, and never giving up attitude. We all know a little bit about your background, and we're going to go probably deep into that later. But I want to know from you, what does it take to become a person like you who was struggling in his personal life at the beginning, worked in a job, became a successful career person, now running a business, been last two years, I would say, that you have been, on this journey, 2.5 years. And within that period, you've gone from quitting a job, which was high paying job, making 3.5 lakh a month. People can't even think about making 3.5 lakh in a lot of careers. But you went from there to 2xing your income within 10 months. And fast forward today, I don't know how much money you made, but I'm sure it's more than 50, 60, 70 lakhs. So, what does it take to become successful like you or like anybody who has made 50, 60 lakhs, 1 crore plus?
Yeah. So I'll go back to corporate because in corporate, people at my level are actually searching for a pat on the back. So they're always looking for some encouragement has to be happening for me. Somebody should recognize me. And in the life, you need a pat on your cheek so that you can actually understand that really you are looking for that pat on the back because which is insignificant in your life, to be very honest. And that is what was happening in my corporate life as well while I was earning really good money. So from the world's perspective, I was pretty successful coming from a textile mill son, having a 150 square feet house to actually have 5 people staying in that same room, and going from that to actually having 3 or 4 houses in the 18 years, which was a good success for the world per se. But inside you, whether you are growing or not, that is not determined by the certificates that you get. It is determined by the whether you have achieved that fulfillment or not, whether you're doing what you love to do or not, and whether you can actually make an impact and give back to the society or not. Because when I was a child born and brought up in that humble family, I was looking for that help. I was looking for that guidance. I was looking for that somebody who actually believes in me and tell me that, okay, yes, Rakesh, you can do it. But there was none. Because as a poor person, as an illiterate person, or a person who is actually seeing the family entirely fighting for the money all the time. So for them, it is very difficult for them to actually get their themselves to the level where they can think beyond money.
Mhm.
And so for me, I think that phase was over when I reached to a pinnacle of my career. I would say a pinnacle for my own standard, because I realized that there is a stagnation which is happening. There is a work which I'm not enjoying, and absolutely that there's nothing that I'm actually contributing. So this is where the breaking point, I would say, the breakthrough point came for me. And as I mentioned, that you need a slap on your cheek on for that matter. That came in 2018 when I was laid up for the first time after 17 years of experience. That brought me to that level, that now is the time for you to actually search for yourself, find out who you are, what you really want, and whether you can make an impact in the world or not. At the most, I'll be back in the job. That was the idea. So when I started this journey, I realized that the only way to grow in this journey is to burn the bridges. And
Mhm.
that's exactly which I did in the 2019. I burnt my bridges, and I realized that I'm much more capable than I would have been in the job where I was only focusing on one function. Now today I'm carrying 7 functions in a one person. That is the transformation I'm looking at.
That's interesting. So I think the biggest takeaway that you shared is burn your bridges. Don't just rely on what is working in the past to create your future. That's interesting. So, but a lot of people don't have courage. Like they think that, oh, I cannot quit my job, and I'm not ready to have the slap on my face and my cheek. What advice would you give to those people saying, but I want to do it, but you know what? I don't have the courage. I'm scared.
I give this advice to my growthpreneur mentees as well, that imagine a Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is known for the mysterious disappearance of the planes and ships. And look at your life as well. Your Bermuda Triangle is nothing but your safety, security, and survival. That's where everything is getting sucked, disappearing. You earn 1 lakh, you're still poor. You earn 3 lakhs, you still feel, oh, I have not achieved. And that's where I realized that courage is not something which I am born with, neither I can be trained for. It is something, it has to be displayed, demonstrated by taking action. And that is what I realized, that everyone who is aspiring to have something on their own or build an empire or at least have the financial freedom in their life, this is something which they need to understand. Whether they want to suck into these three triangles, or they want to actually understand, take action, and prove themselves that they can overcome that.
Interesting, interesting. So there is no medicine for courage, as I say. There's no injection for courage. All you take, all you have to do is take small baby step towards.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you already said, right, that courage, if you not use, shrinks, and if it is used, it expands. And I have been expanding my courage year over year now, coming into this journey.
So tell us, I think this is a very interesting topic because I've had a lot of setbacks, a lot of downfalls. I think most of the people are scared to take that courageous step is because they have the fear of unknown and they don't want to go to the dark swamp. Like the dark swamp, the alley. People are afraid. So what would you advise to the people who are afraid of the dark phase and dark swamp? Can you give us an example of the what dark swamps that you had in your life?
So let me give you an example. I mean, when I started my journey as a passionpreneur, within the first year or so, I realized that I have a POC available, that is proof of concept, which could be made available. That means you building your impact in the world, which actually people are appreciating. My first breakthrough came in March 2019 when somebody from social media came to me asking, Rakesh, can you coach me for leadership? And I said, wow, I have not actually coached anybody for the leadership for so, but I have gone through my own journey of leadership for 18 years. Definitely, I can coach somebody who is at 10 years of experience. So I said, yes. So it started with that. In April, I converted two more POCs, 1.2 lakh in a one day,
Mm.
which was almost, I would say, 45% of my salary. Now I
Wow.
realized that is it something which is coming by fluke, or is it something a sign that I need to actually read and go forward? I took the step in 2019 July that I burned the bridges, and
Mm.
then the downfall begins, because the people who quit the 9 to 5 forget one thing which I have also realized later on by evolving as a person. They do not leave the 9 to 5 mindset before they leave the 9 to 5. And that was haunting me in 2019 when I started on my own. Yes, there were mentors. Yes, there were people, the group of people who were there along with you. But ultimately, the action has to be taken by you. Ultimately, you are the owner of that particular company for your journey.
Mm.
And when I was taking that, each step which I was taking, July 2019 onwards till December 2019,
Mhm.
everything was failing. Be it the webinar, be it the digital program, be it the live workshop. I did 4 live workshops in different cities of India. None of them converted into a substantial business outcome. And that was a period where I had a thought, what do I do now? Should I actually go back to job? And at that point of time, I got an offer for consulting. I refused that offer as well. The reason is, I thought, what is the worst thing that could happen? So, the worst thing which was supposed to happen is I have to sell my house, actually give all the loans back, and settle down in my native place. That was the worst thing to happen. And still, I would survive for next 6, 8 months because of that arrangement.
Mm.
I said, why not I give myself a chance of next 6 months and then see?
Mm.
If I give up now, after putting in a lot of efforts, is it something I'm very close to my breakthrough that this breakdown is suggesting? Or is it something that I have already given up on my dreams, on my desires, on my purpose, on my passion, just because there were setbacks who which I was not able to cross? So this was the realization which happened during the June to December, I would say. And that realization brought me to a level where from January onwards, I put my efforts in a different direction. I took myself, I tuned myself to that level that, yes, you are born to actually do such and such impact, and your purpose is on the right track. And that is where I could generate the result, where the entire world was actually under the pandemic. They were struggling to actually retain the job. I was able to double the salary of my corporate journey. That is where it was happening. So if you are not going through the swamp, I mean, for me, it is not a journey worth remembering, to be very honest, because if it is, everything is going hunky dory for you, that means something is really wrong. Something is fishy.
Yeah. If there's no problem, then there is definitely a problem
There is definitely a problem, 100%.
waiting to be exploded. Yeah, that's interesting. So I think what you mentioned is so important that to before you quit your job, you need to quit your 9 to 5 mindset.
100%.
Build your courage, take the action, take the calculated steps. And I think you did. I think you mentioned that there are a lot of setbacks that you went through for 1 year. Webinars are not working, money is not being generated, and that also income is not coming from your job. And then you still persisted that, right? You still build your courses and you're trying this, trying that, trying that. What I felt is you acquired a new level of yourself.
100%.
You acquired a new level of thinking. You acquire a new level of, next version of Rakesh Rana. So if somebody has to acquire that level of version, 2.0 or whatever next version of yours, and want to stop thinking like a 9 to 5 person, what advice would you give to them?
Okay. So I would advise them the two things. One is the exposure, the other is the experience. Expose themselves to the conditions and the situation which you have never seen in your life or never face, and go through that journey with the faith, because that is what you started with, isn't it? You need to connect yourself with the why, that why did you start in the first place? Because if it was this much easy, everybody around you must have done it by now. It is difficult, and it is the wealthy minority that you are trying to get into, which is what requires a different level of efforts. And that's what I understand, that you cannot solve the problem at the same conscious level. You have to move to the next conscious level. So while the challenges are coming, expose yourself to the challenges and experience that, so that you build your own resistance, which is unlike anybody else. So if somebody like you who has actually gone through the different workshops, you got a good result in the workshop. I may not have the good result in the workshop, but can I actually build something of my resilience where I can convert the online platform well? And that's what has been working for me over the last 1.5 years or so. So I now put myself into different experiments, that I expose myself and experience through that situation, whether it is launching a new program, whether creating a new initiative, whether probably launching a campaign where even the campaign is not ready fully. Like, I come from the perfectionist background, so I have that habit of, oh, everything should be planned and so on. So I have actually given up that habit in the process. So that has been working for me.
Nothing in business is 100%. Nothing in business.
100%. I mean, I completely agree. I had that mindset that, oh no, I should have first this clarity, then I have to move to this step. So I was working in series rather than I have to work in parallel while I'm taking that baby steps, at the same time exposing myself and moving my mind to the next level. If I don't visualize myself better than yesterday with respect to my mindset, my skill set, that is where I need to worry. If it is moving in that direction, I don't think anybody needs to worry on that.
That's very, very interesting, and thank you so much for sharing these things. And I think this will help and motivate a lot of people who are looking to find their passion, find the courage, and take the bold step to move out of 9 to 5. What is your one biggest turning point in your life that you would say, what, I think this is because of that? Maybe one or two. What are the one or two biggest turning points in your life, which very few people wanted, but they don't know how to get there, or how do you find it?
So one of the biggest turning point which came to me is when I was at the lowest point of my life. The lowest point in my life came May 2018, when I was sitting in a boardroom with the clients. I was called in the middle of the meeting by HR along with my boss, and I was told, Rakesh, this client has ultimately declared to pull out the project. Now is the time for you to search for the project, because we do not have your billing. That's how the companies work. So we will help you search that job or the role for the next 2 months. But if it doesn't happen, you're most likely to get separated from the company. And while I was in the project, I was logically aware of it, what the outcome would be, because I had done those aspects of the job as well. What I didn't realize, that when it comes to you, how do you feel that emotional trauma, the pressure, the the entitlement that you had in your mind, that, oh, I was a manager or a general manager or a VP of that certain company, and all of a sudden you become a common man the next day,
Looking for.
because you know that there is no umbrella now. There's no 30 days cycle which is running for you. where you can wait on first that, oh, money is deposited. So that is one of the scariest thought which came to my mind. Now, it was more aggravated because my second son was born just a month back, and I had 70 lakh rupees plus debt for home and car and everything. And I was feeding six people, my parents and my children and all together. So for them, it was an emotional torture that they had to go through, because everybody asked the same question, Rakesh, what's next? And at that point of time, generally the people in your vicinity actually stop taking your calls. Your friends, relatives, everybody will just move away. हाँ यार busy हूँ अभी, बाद में बात करते हैं. So, and that is also one of the things that uh, that motivated and inspired me, that what is my existence as a person on this planet? Was it actually dependent on what do you call a single identity that I call it, or was it also dependent on only on the single income that I was earning? And
Mm.
that prompted me to go for the binge watching YouTube, which everybody do in frustration, whether they watch the movies or they watch maybe just to go to the bar and have drinks. I didn't have that habit, so I went to the YouTube to get out my frustration. So I watched for almost a month or so, and in that period, I think I came across your profile, where I realized that, oh, somebody is doing this by leaving the job, working on their passion, building the business. How is it possible? And and the one of the biggest resonance with you was that you realize the average mindset, the mediocre mindset, which is what was causing the problem for every one of us. Even today, also, I mean, we also get into that mindset sometimes, right? Those swamp still come up. So this is where I realized that, yeah, this is something making sense. And I actually ended up attending your session on 5th July after two times cancellation, right? 5th July 2018. I remember that date really, really well. And I attended for full day. My entire house, my children were crying, and my family was saying that, are you mad? You have been on the call for since morning. What the hell are you doing? And so on. I said, hold on, let me first finish the learning, then we'll talk. Then obviously you provided me an opportunity to be associated with you, and that moment was the moment where I feel that I could have buckled down. I could have simply said, see, my job is not there. I have to spend some lakhs of rupees with this person who I don't know. I haven't even met. I don't know the history of he actually putting me to the next level or not. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I doesn't have what he is asking for? And so on. All these objections, or what do you call the excuses which I was giving myself, I had only one question to ask. What if it works? And what's the alternative I have? The
Mm.
alternative was going back to the same corporate job, definitely earn and again get laid off. That was the alternative, which was very much known to me by looking at the horizon. And the other alternative was that because I would learn something new, which will give me that courage, which will give me that knowledge, which will give me that skill. Even if I could make half of my salary, it would still be worth the effort. And that was the breaking point when I said yes, not having money, having a debt. Still, I said yes, I will go for it. And
Wow.
that was the real breaking point. I mean, I would say the breakthrough point for me.
Wow. So, all the people listening in, we all get opportunities, whether you're getting through passionpreneurs or somebody else. There's always the knock on the door. And I think only the people who are brave enough to confront themselves and say, you know what changes if I don't change? What are the chances that I'm going to become successful? Only those people who question the status quo and follow their heart, follow the courage, followed by the action, are the people who make it big. So, Rakesh, I'm really proud of the progress that you've had in such a short period of time. And of course, we're going to go deep into this aspect of your life. So, What next? You've achieved a lot of things, you've done a lot of things in your life. What is it the next big thing that Rakesh Rana is doing? I think you've done some, digital summit as well, the digital growth summit. You have actually, have career acceleration mastery. You've done a lot of things, and I just want to give a sneak peek to people who are watching here. What exactly has gone behind this, right? You got thousands of people joining your programs. You launched this, breakthrough leadership. You've trained so many people. You've got thousand plus professionals around the globe in just last 1.5 years, and you've got, of course, more than 70 lakhs now in income in just last 18 months. What is the next big thing that you're focusing on now?
So the next big thing which I'm looking at from the my perspective, I believe that the journey that which I had gone through in the last 1.5 2 years or so, which has given me the dream, a dream to actually make people aspire more, make people rise above their average thinking. See, not that I was special. Definitely, I had my own loopholes in terms of communication skill. I had no tech background. I have no sales background to sell anything. So I come from a background where nothing was actually for me in the business. Everything was against me if I have to actually become successful. Neither I was a communicator. I was a very introvert, conservative guy who hardly used to open up in the offices.
Mm.
So that with that background, I realized that each person in the mid career has definitely got an opportunity. Now, my job as a growthpreneur mentor, I want to provide this opportunity to this 25 million people in the next 10 years or so, where they at least recognize that there is an opportunity exists to rise above the average in terms of their wealth, in terms of their influence, and in terms of growth. And second thing which I also realized that I want to create a school where the leaders are born, where the people actually recognize that the school where the people are coming from, they have the right mindset. They also have the heart set of a leader. They also have the skill set of an entrepreneur. If I can combine these three elements in them, I can imbibe that three elements in them, I'm sure my life will be worth.
Mm, wow, big dreams, big dreams. What would you say to people who procrastinate?
So I'm one of the biggest procrastinator that you'll come across actually. And so if you ask me the advice for the procrastinator, right? The reason of the procrastination is plenty of reasons that they have. My belief is that people not working on their personal discovery, the self discovery, as well as their, I would say, competence per se. These two aspects are holding them back because person doesn't take the action when they have a fear of failure or when they do not know whether it is a right path or not. Either of this situation, people do not take action. And in the last 1.5 years, whatever initiative I could take it because I was ready to take that experiment on my chin and fail. Now, this courage didn't come on day one, as I have mentioned. This courage came by experimenting, exposing myself, and experiencing those things. So the only advice I would give them is that start experimenting with yourself by discovering first whether you can find yourself really well, whether you know yourself well. Most of the people are just in a flow. They are robots who are working in a shift, then they are just going through a same year over year, Xerox copy each year, till they realize the time has already passed. So that is what I would advise.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think you already know I'm a big believer in mentors, but I want to know your thoughts on having a mentor because a lot of people say, you know what, I will let me try myself, let me test it. I don't need a coach, I don't need a mentor. What are your thoughts on having a coach or a mentor in life? In life,
So this has again to do with my own personal life, which I want to share, because passing through the NIT with the gold medalist gives you the entitlement that you are an intelligent person, to say so. And when you hear your boss saying that I'm a BCom graduate heading you NITs and IITs and IIMs people, that gives you a lot of ego issue and conflict, right? So I come from that background where I used to consider myself to be intelligent because I was a self-made person. In my life, till study, till engineering, achieving gold medalist, I was a self-made person. In corporate life, I couldn't find the mentor or the coach, and I wish that I would have found it. Otherwise my life would have been a different altogether. But because I couldn't find it, I had that ego, and that all the intelligent people have, all the knowledgeable people who actually collect a lot of certificates, they have that yeah, I know many things. Yeah, you don't know the real world, seriously. So I have only one question: you don't know yourself, and for that you only need a mirror, and that mirror can be only provided by the other person who is a mentor or coach, nobody else.
Interesting, interesting. Um, what do you think is the difference between thinking of poor people or middle class and the thinking of rich? Because you come from both sides. You come from poor family, you got into middle class, and now you're into the rich. I would, if I may call it rich side, because having an income of 70 lakh plus is definitely put you on in like top 3 or 1% earners around the globe. So what is the difference between your thought process as a person from poor class, middle class, and now rich class? What are your basic
So
changes?
I'll tell you the basic difference. Anything happens in the world, I used to actually get into the flock or the crowd, and I was used to call, I am a common man,
Common man. Mango people.
mango people. And the basic difference which I have realized over the period of time, in the last 2 years, my realization has gone up and up, and I'm now firm believer of it, is that the people who are thinking poor have the victim mindset and the mentality that they want to resonate themselves with the crowd, with the majority, with the by victimizing themselves, that I am probably oppressed with the so many troubles, problems, challenges of the life and the corporate world and boss and so on, versus the person who is thinking rich. He is a person who takes the responsibility of himself first and then the rest of the people,
Mm.
because there's only one difference between these two. One want to become a victim, the other one want to become a responsible person, and that separates out in terms of the people taking the risk as well, because the person who wants to become a victim, they will always see risk as a fear. The person who is thinking big, they will always see risk as an opportunity. So that's where the differentiation happens.
That is very powerful. That is very powerful. So let's play a small game. All right. I'm gonna ask you a. I'm gonna give you a word, and I
Mhm.
want you to, without thinking, what comes to your mind quickly. Okay, whatever comes to your mind, unfiltered. All right, ready? Growth.
This is difficult. Okay, growth. What do I say?
Anything, whatever words, line. It does not have to be one word. You can have a line as well. Whatever comes to your mind when you say here growth.
Raise the bar.
Raise the bar. Okay. Money.
Outcome of an value add in the world.
Responsibility.
It's an ownership for the person, for themselves.
Um, family.
The warmth, love, and belief that you exist, and you have somebody to believe in you.
Mission.
Mission. The number one thing that you should be actually remind yourself when you are waking up?
Mentor.
Mentor, a person who can actually show you the real mirror.
Legacy.
Legacy, you don't want to leave with your two certificates, that is your birth and the death certificate. What else you create between these two is the legacy.
I just love it. I just love it. All right. One last question I want to ask you. For all the people who have been watching us, you, me, and all the mentors who are still on the edge of the seat, should I join this? Should I do the 3-day event? And should I join the mentorship program? Oh, I don't have the money. What advice would you give to them, people who are not able to make a decision to move forward with anything they want to do in life?
One of the biggest advice that I have received, and why the so many people are sitting on the edge and do not take the decisions, their decisions are generally dependent on the other people's opinion, judgment, and things as well, right? And their own perception, which are created by a lot of other things in the market. And the market is full of distraction, as we know. So my advice to them is that what my mentor Ron Malhotra has given me is that never let others actually control your life, right? So I always believe, be the hero of your life, and if you do not take charge of your life, somebody else will anyway play with you.
Take
Correct?
charge or go
Charge
out
of
of.
your life. Otherwise, be ready to be victim. It is as simple as that. So I would only say that if you have to take charge, why not actually expose yourself? The biggest loss in the world is not about probably people failing. The biggest loss in the world is actually people not even trying. They have the regrets of not trying. That is the loss that we are all actually having in the world. So that's what I feel is that instead of having the regret, why not actually try?
Beautiful, beautiful. I love the wisdom, Rakesh, and I'm sure people are watching this, they are really blown away and they love the wisdom that you've shared. You have a big mission, you have a big vision, and I have no doubt that you will be able to achieve that. For all the people who have got inspired, put it in chat box. What is the aspect of what Rakesh shared with you today has really inspired you? And this is something I needed to hear, because when you share with everybody, it gets imbibed in your head as well. And of course, follow this man, Raakesh Rana. He's available everywhere. Just Google him, search in all the social media profile. Thank you so much, Rakesh, for sharing your wisdom with us and inspiring so many people.
Thank you very much, Dave, for providing this opportunity and being the spark in my life to enlighten me on this journey.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you.
So, thank you everybody for watching this, and stay tuned for next episode of Passionpreneur Superstars, where we bring you the passionate, the powerful leaders who are changing the world for good. All right. Until then, take care. God bless you.